because he needs the Hausa Fulani power to remain in the presidency. Because I would have thought the moment President Tinubu got to power, the first thing is to dust the confab and implement. But because there are interests that will not be served satisfactorily by the confab of, was it 2014?
2014, sir.
Fulani request. I'm from Edo State. 14 people, herdsmen they call them, were in Urumi, and they saw that they had arms. What did the governor do? He quickly put a team together, went to the north to appease them. It won't happen again. No one has ever talked about people who have been disenfranchised, killed on their farms. How many people have we seen go to court, prosecuted for killing someone, people in the southwest, in the southeast? None. And it is open knowledge that all the people that were caught killing from the Fulani side were never prosecuted. The ones that were caught by the police were released by the police. So it's
ọmọ Yorùbá mo kíwákíwá mo kíwákíwá ẹkú lédè àsìkò yìí àtúkù ayẹyẹ oṣù titun lágbára lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run ọba mi Èdùmàrè ọ̀pọ̀ ẹ̀ là á ṣe láyé èmi a máa wí fún gbogbo èèyàn wípé bọ́pẹ́ títí àkólò ló ń bọ̀ wá pé bàbá àti ń débẹ̀ díẹ̀díẹ̀ abẹ́ ẹ̀ mọ̀ ni abẹ́ ẹ̀ bá mọ̀ ẹ́ tètè gbà bẹ́ẹ̀ àti ń délẹ̀ ìmúṣẹ wa gangan báyìí ṣe bọ́yá òye yín ẹni tí ẹ wò yìí ọ̀kan pàtàkì nínú àwọn bàbá wa tí wọ́n mọ̀ nígbà tá a máa gba independent ẹ gbọ́ ni wọ́n mọ̀ bí a ṣe bó ṣe fún wa ní independent pẹ̀lú àwọn Ọbáfẹ́mi Awólọ́wọ̀ àti gbogbo ẹ̀ ẹ farabalẹ̀ kẹ́ ẹ wo fídíò yìí kẹ́ ẹ lè bá a mọ̀ wípé lóòótọ́ ni mo wí fún yín àwọn àgbààgbà ti dáwọ́pọ̀ pẹ̀lú bàbá wa Pòfẹ́sọ̀ Banji Akíntóyè pé ó tó gẹ́ alùbàtà kì í dárin pé ó ṣe kí ni ó tó gẹ́ kò sí tàbí mọ́ àṣetán láti lọ a lè gbà kẹ́nikẹ́ni kọ́ máa dalẹ̀ fún kí Fúlàní máa dalẹ̀ fún wa àwa ò gbà àwa ò fẹ́ àsanwó orí mọ́ orin tí wọ́n kọ tẹ́lẹ̀ nìyẹn ṣùgbọ́n lọ́wọ́ yìí àgbà àfẹ́ Fúlàní òrìṣà aṣáájú wa àwa gbà àwa ò fẹ́ orin tó kùn ní tí wọ́n sì ti pe bàbá wa Pòfẹ́sọ̀ Banji Akíntóyè wọ́n farabalẹ̀ fi fídíò yìí lẹ̀ fún yín láìpẹ́ kẹ́ ẹ farabalẹ̀ wò ó tí wọ́n fi pe bàbá wa Pòfẹ́sọ̀ Banji Akíntóyè pé tó ọgbọ́n ibi tó tẹ̀ sí iná ìlàwá náà tẹ̀ sí àti south east àti south west àti middle belt àbí àwọn Ẹdó àǹkó wọ́n ti farabalẹ̀ pawọ́pọ̀ fún bàbá wa Pòfẹ́sọ̀ Banji Akíntóyè pé tó ibi tó ọba gbẹ́sẹ̀ sí làwa náà gbẹ́sẹ̀ sí dandan kí Bọ́lá Tinubu kó jẹ́ kí olúkúlùkù wọn lọ gbàgbé nípa restructuring jẹ́ kí olúkúlùkù kó lọ ní separate way ẹ má jẹ́ gbà yín lásìkò ẹ jẹ́ gbé yín lọ síbi fídíò bàbá yìí kẹ́ ẹ farabalẹ̀ wo ìfọ̀rọ̀wérọ̀ bàbá ẹ gbọ́ nǹkan tí wọ́n sọ ẹ gbọ́ bí wọ́n ṣe sọ ẹ sì gbọ́ àwọn ọ̀dáhùn kẹ́ ẹ lè mọ̀ yìí pé tó kò sí ọ̀nà confab 2014 padà lọ yẹ̀ ẹ́ wò kí ló wà ń bẹ̀. Léyìí tí Jonathan ṣe lọ́jọ́sí, wọ́n ti pàṣẹ fún Tinubu pé kó padà la yẹ̀ ẹ́ wò kó gbé e jáde. Kò sì sí ohun méjì tó wà ń bẹ̀ tó pé gbogbo àwọn ẹ̀yà tó wà ń bẹ̀, ilé koko ìtàgbé. Àtọ́dún yẹn náà ti ń pariwo pé tó amalgamation ti tán o. Lóòótọ́ restructuring làwọn yẹn ń béèrè nígbà yẹn, ṣùgbọ́n òun ní bá lead sí separation. Ẹ wo, ẹ jẹ́ fún òun sí fídíò yìí lulẹ̀ kẹ́yìn yẹn wọ́n farabalẹ̀ wò ó bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe ń wo gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń wò mí. Ẹ jẹ́ kí mẹ́sẹ̀gì yẹn máa pọ̀ bí mo ṣe sọ, ẹ má tó sun yín. Yorùbá national ń bọ̀, gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń pè pé May tó ti parí, ohun gbogbo ní àkókò wà fún. Bá a ṣe gbọ́ nílé ọkọ bẹ́ẹ̀ la gbọ́ nílé àlè. Bí Professor Banji Akíntóyè bàbá wa àti olóyè Sunday Adéyẹmọ Ìgbòho Òòṣà olórí ogun àti gbogbo àwọn sọ̀mọ̀gbé wọn tó ń ṣiṣẹ́ bọ́ ṣe gbìyànjú lọ́tún lọ́sì, bẹ́ẹ̀ làwọn kan bọ́ sábẹ́ tí wọ́n ń fàjọba ìyà, tí wọ́n ń fa ìyẹn ni pé tí wọ́n ń da gbogbo ètò wọn rú, torí wọ́n ti pínra wọn gbogbo gúrùpù tẹ́ kírètì tẹ́ pé kìnnìkan àwọn ìkà yìí ti wọnú ẹ̀ láìmọ̀. Bẹ́ẹ̀ nìkan bá sọ̀rọ̀ kan, àwọn ni wọ́n tako ẹ̀. Ṣùgbọ́n mo mọ̀ pé bó ti wù kó rí pọ́pẹ́ títí ojú oró ní òlékè omi. Ìyà tí wọ́n ń jẹ nílẹ̀ Yorùbá á fi ìyà jẹni tó bá ní ká tẹ̀síwájú. Ẹ má jẹ gbà yín lásìkò òun rèé, ẹ̀yà débẹ̀ ẹgbọ́n nǹkan tí bàbá wa yìí sọ.
TV Pavilion ìkànnì tó ń ṣojú gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá nílé lóko ọmọ Yorùbá ẹ ṣé tẹ̀ ń wò wá.
From the Fulanis who say they want to come and take over Nigeria. Have you heard the governor of Benue, Bauchi, who said they have invited all Fulanis to come to Nigeria? Have you? And they say all they do is monetize. So I believe, unfortunately, it's my personal belief, that Nigeria should split. It's going to be, it's a hot cake discussion because many people are paying lip service. We are still far. The heading you put on earlier was that unity beyond tribal lines. I do not believe that we have a tribal problem. What we have is a religious problem. And that religious problem can be given in just 2 or 3 examples. There's Boko Haram. What are they about? They want to dip the Quran in the ocean. From time they wanted to Islamize Nigeria, including our former president, who it is public knowledge in the public space that he was the chairman or the negotiating personnel for Boko Haram, although he quickly denied. But what has come out of it? What did our Muslim leaders say when, what was her name, Dorothy in Sokoto? The girl that was killed in Sokoto?
Yeah.
What did they say? Nothing. We need to first solve our religious problem, remove religion.
Deborah, you should say.
Okay, Deborah, yes. There's a case in Maiduguri. Why would a man that was defending himself was told to run away? Why was that? Because a sect wants to take over the religion in Nigeria. What happened in, was it Ekiti? were in a church. They went there and killed people. So the problem we have is religion, and it has to do with Christians, pastors who can't talk, who do not have the liver to talk truth, to not just power, to religion. There are people in the north who preach every day that the rest of us are infidels. So,
but is it a function of, or is it a malfunctioning of democracy, the religion or religious question?
The religious question is a function of greed.
But the question is, well, of course, it's your opinion.
Yes.
We'll put it out there. It's not the opinion of the station in that sense, because we're one indivisible nation, and the Constitution is very clear on our unity in that sense. But let's even piggyback on that. People have also argued that going our ways or our separate ways in that sense doesn't necessarily mean that we are going to be able to resolve our problems, because some of these problems are beyond endemic. So let's even say, come down south. Even within states, you can see that, dichotomy. Then you will now know, oh, I'm from this ethnic nationality as against this ethnic nationality. Look at what is going on in Rivers. We can go and go on and on. So do you think that division is really an answer if we want to take it to that extreme? That is not a conversation in that sense. How would that even solve any problem?
Okay, first, the biggest problem again is religion. We can resolve ethnic divisions. Pa Adebanjo died recently, and people came to Egbo, and they were singing Ijebu anthem. They want Ijebu state. And that Ijebu state will leave the Egbas. So the problem will always be there. All we need to do is discussion. But in the case of religion, where one religion says, take the Quran or I kill you.
So let's posit it, extremists of that religion, because we have a lot of wonderful Muslims. Our president is a Muslim, Shatima Device is a Muslim. I can go on and on with a list of Muslim leaders in that sense, whether they're from the north or the south. So we're talking about extremists in this sense. Is that correct, sir?
But they have not been able, the moderate ones have not been able to call the extremists in Nigeria to order. But
even if we, if that question were to be debated to a logical conclusion of national unity, and there's a consensus reached on that, the ethnic question will not be able to solve the more important question of where we're headed as a region in that sense of the word, because you've just talked about the Ijebu and the Egbas. Now there's a clamor for the establishment of an Ijebu state. The more important question would be, where are we headed as a nation or nation state, and what is the approach to getting us there in terms of a system of government? That is the more important question. And then all the others, either be it religion or ethnicity, may be solved along the line. Have we reached that point where we're clear about how to get to where we're headed?
I've lived in the United States for over 50 years, and there are many Nigerian tribes. You won't know, except that they all say we are Nigerians. It is when we return home that there's clamor. Personally, again, I believe we should go use, is it the Swedish or Switzerland, where all states are autonomous. If you look at the advantages of numbers, yes, we have defense. If the Southwest were to go on their own, their defense won't be like the Nigerian army. If the Southeast were to go alone, they may not get the same advantage of numbers and size from international relations. So my prescription is that the zones should be made independent.
So you're talking about restructuring.
Restructuring.
So let's build on that. I know that Lenesek AGBAGBA had raised this concern.
Yes.
In fact, under Muhammadu Buhari, I think it was the former governor of the Kaduna State, Nasser El-Rufai,
yes,
that led a committee on restructuring. In fact, it was so funny because I don't know whether it became political in that sense, because all of a sudden we seem not to know what restructuring means anymore. Everybody had a different version of what it means. So let's talk about restructuring as it was, yes, when we were in the regions.
Yes.
And so every zone controlling their resources.
Yes.
My question is, how far-reaching can that go?
It can go very far. Have you ever asked why it is that the Constitutional Conference of 2000 during
former President Goodluck Jonathan.
Yes. Why
National Confab.
The National Confab. Even AGBAGBA was there.
Yeah.
All of them still say it's the best that ever came out. Why has it been jettisoned till today? Bola Tinubu is our president. At the time, he probably supported the confab. Why is it? Again, it is my opinion that it has to do with religion.
So
yes,
you were there before we even became independent as a country. So you saw it all.
yes,
And you saw the good and the bad and the ugly.
Yes.
Why do you think it's hard for any president to be bold enough? This president is kind of bold because his reforms are bold.
Yes.
They are hurting. Everybody's feeling the pain, and we're all clamoring that this is getting too much. So it shows some boldness in certain things. Why do you think he's not bold enough, at least yet, to say let's restructure?
Because he needs the Hausa Fulani power to remain in the presidency. Because I would have thought the moment President Tinubu got to power, the first thing is to dust the confab and implement. But because there are interests that will not be served satisfactorily by the confab of, was it 2014?
2014, sir.
2014. It's all about interest. Bringing it forward. Why do you think most of our governors acquiesce to Fulani requests? I'm from Edo State. 14 people, herdsmen they call them, were in Urumi, and they saw that they had
Arms.
What did the governor do? He quickly put a team together, went to the north to appease them. It won't happen again. No one has ever talked about people who have been disenfranchised, killed on their farms. How many people have we seen go to court, prosecuted for killing people in the southwest, in the southeast? None. And it is open knowledge that all the people that were caught killing from the Fulani side were never prosecuted. The ones that were caught by the police were released by the police. So it's a bigger picture, and what continues to ring in my head is the fact that when I was growing up, I heard of Uthman Danfodio and his followers insisting that it may take 200 years, but they must dip the Quran in the ocean.
Well,
so in your own view, we're in a catch-22 situation.
Yes.
So what would it take, to break the ice, so to speak?
What it would take is either the Yugoslavian system, Yugoslavia, what's the name? Czechoslovakia, there's the Czech Republic. Nobody died.
Mo paláṣẹ sínú ayé ẹnìkan tó lè rí àmẹ́ṣe lórúkọ Jésù gbogbo ọjọ́ pípẹ́ tó ń yọ àyànmá ti ṣẹ̀dá yín lẹ́nu iná Ọlọ́run kó jó dànù. Olúwa rán mi sí gbogbo ẹ̀yin ènìyàn tẹ́ ń gbọ́ mi lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́. Olúwa ní kájọ gbàdúrà papọ̀, kájọ wádìí àṣírí ogun tẹ́ ń là kọjá. Ẹ gbọ́ mi sà, bóyá èyí tẹ́ ti gba àwẹ̀ ṣùgbọ́n síbẹ̀ tógun yẹn ò lọ, bóyá ẹ ti gbàdúrà ẹ ti lọ orí òkè síbẹ̀ ogun yẹn sì dúró kò lọ. Ẹ má gbàgbé sà, ó ti pẹ́ tí Hánà náà ti lọ sí Ṣílò, ṣùgbọ́n lọ́jọ́ kan sà, lọ́jọ́ kan mà, agbára Ọlọ́run bá Hánà pàdé, ó sì rí ọ̀nà àbáyọ, a fún Hánà ní ọmọ rere. Ìwọ náà bẹ́ o ṣe ń gbọ́ mi lórúkọ Bàbá tọmọ tẹ̀mí mímọ́, gbogbo ọ̀dájú ogun tó lóòní ń rí ọ̀nà lọ tó lóòní ní sinmi, iná Ọlọ́run máa run wọn dànù. Ẹ jẹ́ àjọ gbàdúrà papọ̀, ẹ jẹ́ àjọ wá Olúwa, ojú Olúwa láti rí àṣírí ogun èyí tí ẹ̀ ń dojú kọ, ká dẹ̀ mú ọ̀nà àbáyọ láti gbàdúrà lórí ogun yẹn. Ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ tẹ́ẹ̀fì bá mi sọ̀rọ̀ rí, bóyá ó ní nǹkan tẹ́ ń là kọjá, bóyá ẹ wà lókè òkun ẹ ṣiṣẹ́ ẹ̀rí ẹ ní àkójọ, tàbí ẹ wá ìwé gbèlú síbẹ̀ ẹ rí ìwé gbèlú, tàbí ẹ ní ìpèníjà lórí ọmọ tàbí lórí iṣẹ́. Ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ tẹ́ máa fi pè mí rè o +234 70 25 47 54 27. Ẹgbọ́n lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí +234 70 25 47 54 27. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ìyanu ló ń ṣẹlẹ̀ lórí òkè. Mo gbàdúrà pé bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ṣe ń pè mí lórúkọ Jésù fún àdúrà. Ìyanu yín lórúkọ Jésù ó máa farahàn. Ó ti rí bí ó ti ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀. Ògo ni fún orúkọ Olúwa. Jésù Olúwa wa. Àmín, àmín, àmín lórúkọ Jésù.